everybody. I'm going to read some short stories out of the Amazing Stories from the Dawnbreakers. Okay, I'm going to start off with the introduction. The Shepherd Boy. A shepherd boy sat dreaming on the hillside. Every now and then he looked up to watch the sheep, searching for herbs and sweet grass among the stones and bushes. When he was born, the shepherd boy was named Yar Muhammad after the Prophet Muhammad. Later, he became known as Nabil Ali Azim, which means the Great Nabil. For many years, his father had been nomad, moving from place to place across north of Persia. But now, 13-year-old Nabil and his parents and brothers and sisters lived in the village of Zarand. The family was not rich, and Nabil had to leave school early to work as a shepherd to earn some money. Nabil was a clever boy and wished he could have studied longer, but at least he had learnt to read the Quran, the holy book of Muhammad. As he followed the sheep over the hills, he chanted the verses of the Quran he had learnt by heart and thought about their meaning. He loved to be alone, praying in the wilderness, and gazed with wonder and delight at the millions of stars shining in the night. At these times, he asked God to guide him to the truth, for he felt that something important had happened in the world. Nabil searched everywhere, trying to find someone who could tell him the answer to all his questions he had in his head. He listened to many religious leaders, but they did not know the answers either. When he was 16 years old, Nabil was visiting his uncle when he overheard a conversation of two men. "Have you heard?" said one of them. "The Bab is near Tehran." The second man said he had not heard the news. So the first man began to tell the story of a young man called Ali Muhammad, whom everyone called the Bab. How had he come to the town of Shiraz in the south of Persia and said he was the promised one? Nabil listened with excitement. He knew that this was the truth he was looking for. He couldn't rest. He couldn't sleep. He wasn't hungry, and all he could think about was the Bab. And he longed to meet with him. He went to the village where the Bab was and said to be staying outside Tehran. But by the time he arrived, the Bab had left. He had been taken as a prisoner to a remote castle in the northwest corner of Persia. Although Nabil never did meet the Bab, he did meet many of his followers. He listened to the amazing tablets of their stories, the amazing tales of their adventures, and many years later, Baha'u'llah encouraged him to write them down so they could be published as a book for everyone to read. And that's the stories I'm reading from. So the following stories have been simplified and adapted from this wonderful book, The Dawnbreakers. Next week, I'll start reading from chapter 1, called Shakh Ahmad Leaves. Shakh Ahmad Leaves. We'll see you next week, okay? Everybody get their books and follow along, okay? Love you guys.